Welcome to the Deep Dive. So today we're plunging into a city that, feels really unique, San Francisco.
Yeah, it really does have a character all its own.
We've got some fascinating material here, looking at everything from its really unusual geography to the big historical moments, the culture, just what makes it tick.
Right.
And our mission, like always, is to give you the most interesting bits, the surprises, basically a shortcut to feeling like you really get San Francisco, maybe without climbing all those hills yourself.
That's a good plan. And what's really striking when you dig into San Francisco is how much its identity is tied up with that landscape.
Yeah.
The water, the hills, and its history. It's not just buildings.
Okay, so let's start right there with the geography. We all picture it, West Coast, California, millions of visitors.
Yeah.
But the location itself is, well, it's pretty dramatic, isn't it? Almost an island.
It really is. It's right on the tip of this peninsula. So you've got water on three sides and the huge Pacific Ocean to the west. Yeah. And then the massive San Francisco Bay on the east. That near isolation, it shapes so much. The views, obviously, but also how the city grew, the neighborhoods.
And the hills? Oh, man, the hills. Like 70 of them, 43 named. Some are incredibly steep.
Oh, yeah. Makes getting around interesting. Definitely unique. And that mix, the hills and the water, that's where you get those amazing views photographers love. Looking out over the bay, the skyline just going up and down.
But I guess getting in and out wasn't always easy, especially early on.
No, definitely not. That geography presented real challenges for trade, for connection back in the day.
And the weather sounds pretty wild, too. Sunshine, then bam, that cold white fog rolls in. Carl. Right. Some people call it Carl.
Yeah, Carl the Fog. It's famous. The Pacific keeps things pretty mild temperature-wise, not too hot, not too cold usually. But that summer fog, June, July, August especially, it just pours in through the Golden Gate. You might genuinely need a coat in the middle of summer.
Good tip. And then there's the earthquake thing, always kind of looming there.
It's part of the reality. The San Andreas Fault, this huge tectonic boundary, runs pretty close by. That's the engine behind the seismic activity.
Which brings us to the early days. Started as a Spanish mission, then this little town, Yerba Buena.
That's right. And then in 1848, it officially gets the name San Francisco.
But then hold, that discovery changed everything, didn't it?
Absolutely pivotal. Gold found at Sutter's mill, maybe, 190 kilometers away?
Something like that.
And the news just exploded. Samuel Brannan, the newspaper guy from the California Star, he really helped spread the word.
You could just picture it, this quiet little town. Suddenly, whoosh, everyone's gone, heading for the hills to find gold.
Yeah, the town apparently became almost deserted for a bit. It was just a massive, massive shift. Not just people, it changed California's whole economy, its politics. San Francisco basically became the hub overnight, a crazy busy port city.
So businesses popped up.
Oh, yeah. You had places like Wells Fargo starting in 1852, dealing with money and transport, and those stagecoaches. Imagine that journey. Really rough, dangerous roads, bringing people mail and ships, Ships pouring in from everywhere, all converging on the bay.
And then later, the people who did strike it rich started building those big houses, like on Nob Hill.
Exactly. Late 1800s, you start seeing that wealth shaping the city's landscape, these grander neighborhoods appearing, rapid growth.
But maybe that rapid growth left it vulnerable, which leads us to 1906.
Yeah, April 18th, 1906. Just after 5 a.m., that massive earthquake. It only lasted, 42 seconds?
No.
But devastating.
Just chilling. And the fires afterwards were even worse in some ways.
In many ways, yes. The fires just raged, wiped out huge parts of the city. Over 3,000 people died. So many lost their homes. People were living in tents in Golden Gate Park, any open space.
Incredible. I read Lotta's Fountain became like a key meeting spot.
Yeah.
For water.
That's right, yeah. A real symbol amidst the chaos.
Right.
But what's also incredible is how the city bounced back. Help came from all over the world.
And they hosted that big expo just 9 years later, 1915.
The Panama Pacific International Exposition, yeah, huge statement. Rebirth. They really showed the spirit of the place.
Amazing. So moving forward, the 20s and 30s, lots of shipping, shipbuilding.
Very much a maritime city. And then after World War II, you get a different kind of wave. Writers, thinkers, the beats.
Right, Jack Kerouac, North Beach, Haight-Ashbury, that whole scene.
Yeah, that really set the stage for what came later. 1967, the Summer of Love. You had maybe 100,000 young people, hippies descending on Haight-Ashbury.
Wow, 100,000.
Around that, yeah.
Yeah.
It cemented San Francisco's reputation for, open ideas, counterculture, diversity, a real shift.
From gold rush to hippies.
Yeah.
Quite a journey. Okay, let's circle back to that fog for a second. It's almost like another character in the city's story.
It really feels that way sometimes. Because of the ocean and the bay, the temperature stays pretty stable. But yeah, that summer fog, June, July, August, it's legendary.
It could be warm in one spot and freezing a few blocks away.
Totally. It rolls in through the Golden Gate, blankets different areas, you learn to layer.
So maybe not always sunny California. Spring and autumn are better bets for stable weather.
Generally, yeah. April, May, September, October often have really lovely, clear days. But the weather can change fast, even short distances.
And underneath it all, that San Andreas fault.
Always there. The 1906 quake was because of movement on that fault, and then the 1989 Loma Prieta quake, another big reminder.
That one killed around 60 people, right?
Yeah.
And left a lot homeless, too.
Yeah, it was significant. But it also showed how building codes had improved newer buildings like the Transamerica Pyramid.
The pointy one.
That's the one. It swayed like 30 centimeters, about a foot, in the 89 quake, but it was designed for that. Stayed standing.
That's pretty incredible engineering.
It is. And, you know, small quakes happen all the time, ones you don't even feel, usually. It's just part of living there.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Getting around a city with all those hills must be an adventure.
Oh, definitely. You mentioned Lombard Street earlier on Russian Hill, that super windy one.
Yeah, the one that goes back and forth down the hill.
They changed it like that back in 1922. It's practically a ride in itself. People drive down it just for the experience.
I bet. But walking must be amazing, too, for the views. Seeing neighborhoods like Haight-Ashbury with those colorful houses.
Oh, walking is great. Steep, but great. But yeah, for longer distances, lots of people rely on buses, streetcars, the Muni system.
And the cable cars, can't forget those. Such an icon.
Absolutely. Started way back in 1873, Andrew Halliday's invention, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, he saw a horse-drawn carriage slide backwards down a wet hill. A bad accident.
Oh, wow. So he came up with a cable system.
Yeah, to handle the steep grades safely, they're such a symbol. A lot of lines were actually destroyed in the 1906 earthquake.
Ah.
And then, get this, in 1947, the city tried to get rid of the remaining ones, but people protested like crazy to save them. They knew how special they were.
Good for them. Okay, another huge symbol. The Golden Gate Bridge. You just think San Francisco, you picture that bridge.
Instantly, that long orange-red span, usually with fog swirling around it in photos.
Right. Was it always going to be built? Or was there doubt?
Oh, huge doubts early on. Back in 1872, people thought it was impossible. The location, the currents, the wind, the fog, just too dangerous.
So who pushed for it?
Justice Strauss. He had the vision in 1921, took years of planning, fighting for it, figuring out the engineering. Work finally started in 1933.
Took over 4 years. Cost a fortune, like $35 million back then.
Yep. Opened in April 1937. At the time, it was the longest suspension bridge of its type in the world. 2.7 kilometers long.
Imagine that opening day. People could walk, drive, bike across.
Yeah, over 200,000 people crossed on the first day alone. Just huge excitement.
And they did a big walk for the 50th anniversary too, right?
They did. April 1987. Something like 300,000 people walked across. It just shows the connection people feel to it.
And it needs constant work, I guess. The sea air, the fog.
Constant maintenance. There are workers on it basically every single day, painting it that specific international orange color, fixing things. It's a never-ending job.
It's been in movies too, right? Like that James Bond one, A View to a Kill.
That's a famous one, yeah. And from the bridge, you get a really clear view of Alcatraz Island.
Ah, Alcatraz. Another place loaded with history.
Definitely. Started as a military prison way back in 1907, then became that infamous federal prison in the 1930s.
For the really dangerous criminals, like Al Capone.
Exactly. The idea was, with those cold, strong currents, escape was basically impossible. A truly forbidding place.
When did it close as a prison?
1963. But the island story wasn't over. In 1969, it was occupied by Native American activists for 19 months.
Right, I remember reading about that. A major protest against government policies.
A really significant event. Now it's a national park. You can take a ferry over, walk around the cell blocks, hear the stories. It's quite an experience.
Okay, for a totally different kind of San Francisco experience. Golden Gate Park.
Yes. The big escape within the city, it's enormous. Fountains, trees, gardens, everything.
One of the biggest city parks in the U.S., right? Like 5 kilometers long.
Yeah, it's huge. Over 43 kilometers of paths inside it. Great for running, walking, whatever.
When did they build it?
They started back in the 1870s. It was mostly sand dunes before that. William Hammond Hall and John McLaren, a Scottish gardener, really transformed it.
Over 155,000 trees now. That's amazing.
It is, and it has that beautiful Japanese tea garden built in 1894, apparently the oldest public one in the U.S.
Wow. And that glass building, the Conservatory of Flowers.
Oh, the conservatory is stunning. Wood and glass built in 1878, full of like 20,000 tropical plants. You can find oranges, bananas growing inside.
Yeah.
Right there in San Francisco.
Crazy. Okay, so beyond the park, what else is there for, like going out?
Always something. Catch a Giants baseball game, see street parades, tons of museums.
Like the Cable Car Museum? That sounds cool.
It is. It's in Nob Hill. You can actually see the huge cables pulling the cars underground, and they have old cars from the 1870s.
Neat. And the Wells Fargo Museum, more gold rush.
Yep, in Chinatown. Stagecoaches, real gold, old letters. Really brings that era to life.
And the California Academy of Sciences is in Golden Gate Park, too.
Right. That's the one with the amazing living roof covered in wildflowers. Inside, you've got everything from penguins to a whole rainforest ecosystem.
Sounds amazing. What about shopping or eating?
Plenty of that, too. You've got the big department stores, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, and Neiman Marcus, which is in this really cool building.
All right.
It has this beautiful old stained glass roof they saved from an even older store called the City of Paris, which actually opened way back during the gold rush. Closed in 72, but they kept the roof.
That's fantastic. And reading seems big there. City Lights Bookstore.
Oh, City Lights is legendary. North Beach, Lawrence Ferlinghetti started it in 1953. It was a huge center for the Beat generation. You know, Kerouac hung out there, new ideas, challenging stuff, and the building itself actually survived the 1906 earthquake.
Wow. History everywhere.
Yeah.
And the food must be incredible with all the different cultures.
Absolutely. Chinese, Japanese, Italian, Mexican, Latin American, everything. So many immigrant communities brought their food traditions.
And Fisherman's Wharf.
Hey.
Sourdough bread.
Boudin Bakery.
Yes, famous for sourdough. The story goes back to the gold rush, 1849. They still use a starter, supposedly from that time.
No way.
That's the legend. And getting clam chowder served inside one of those hollowed-out sourdough bread balls, that's like the quintessential San Francisco tourist meal. But locals love it, too.
Gotta try that sometime. So wrapping up, it feels like San Francisco does things a bit differently.
It really does. It's this amazing mix of deep history that Gold Rush Pass is always there, but also constantly looking forward, embracing new ideas.
And those symbols, the fog, the bridge, they just endure, don't they? Mm-hmm. And it's something else interesting our sources mentioned. The city's really serious about recycling. Like 72% of waste gets recycled or composted.
Wow, that's high for the U.S.
Yeah, they're leaders in that. You see recycling bins everywhere for all sorts of different things. It's just part of the culture now.
So, okay, to kind of pull it all together from our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've talked about this incredibly unique geography. The hills, the water.
Right, how that shapes everything.
Then the huge impact of the gold rush, the '06 earthquake.
Yeah.
How the city rebuilt and changed.
There's pivotal moments.
The cultural movements, too. The beats, the Summer of Love, making it this place known for open ideas.
Yeah, that counterculture vibe.
The landmarks everyone knows, the bridge, Alcatraz, the cable cars.
Iconic stuff.
And even this commitment to things like recycling. It really isn't like other cities.
Not at all. It's got its own very distinct personality shaped by all those forces.
Yeah.
History and innovation side by side. That's probably why millions of people are so fascinated by it.
Definitely. So that leads us to our final thought for you. Thinking about this blend of history, the landscape, the constant change, what do you think the next surprising chapter might be in San Francisco's ongoing story?